Hey, this is Sandy.
And Randy.
And we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athlete trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase it all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to another episode of AT Corner. For this week's episode, we are going to be celebrating episode 200.
A very special episode indeed.
That's crazy. Just think, 200 episodes.
I know. Honestly, when I was writing 200, I was like, is
this real?
I feel like this kind of snuck up on us.
And you know what? What better way to celebrate episode 200 than sharing stories of working a sport that provides endless entertainment?
I feel like it's also a very superstitious sport.
Yes.
So putting it as number 200, I feel like just felt right.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
So also, I think just to show the difference in how much not just our podcast has grown, but just like us personally as clinicians and me personally, the last time we recorded a baseball stories episode was before I worked baseball.
Yeah.
And I believe it was before I worked baseball because I remember not liking baseball, like not liking working, but I liked watching baseball. But
I think you were about to like work some baseball.
Yeah, I don't think I had really worked baseball previously, and I was definitely trying to avoid it. But now, I mean, if you would have taken me back to that episode and told me now that baseball is my second favorite sport to work, like right there, right underneath football, I would have been so, like, I wouldn't have believed you.
You would have been like, nah.
Yeah, definitely not. So the very first question I asked on our Instagram stories was, have you ever worked baseball? And 93% of people said yes.
Ooh, that's a pretty overwhelming majority.
And it was, and all of these polls that I took from this episode, all of them have at least a couple hundred votes on them.
Dang.
Yeah, so that is a resounding yes.
I can honestly say, as a certified, I have not worked baseball.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I did as a student.
Especially with you playing baseball.
I know. Yeah. Well, because most of the time, it was either track or I worked mostly female sports. So softball, but
you did work a lot
baseball.
of softball. Mm-hmm. Which softball stories we haven't done yet, but I am waiting. I am trying to put together something good for that one. So
that's in the works.
Yes. What is your favorite memory from working baseball? Well, you worked baseball as a student.
Yeah. So. Oh, so many. Countless ones. I think, I don't know. I think the one that stands out that really just describes just baseball in general is when the time I dropped the ice roll bag and it rolled down the dugout.
Like, did it completely unroll?
It made it about halfway through the dugout.
Did anyone notice?
I think a few guys did. And of course you're a student, so you're like, oh, you're even more flustered now because you're like, oh my God. That was wild.
That is really funny.
Yeah, because we had a roll in the dugout of ice bags.
Uh-huh.
And this was a big roll. So like obviously it's not attached to anything, it's just the roll.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah. So like as you're trying to get, you have to like kind of toss it.
It's like dropping an ace wrap, but worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? And so you have to toss it to actually get it to roll, right? Because it's not like on something that unrolls.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you just, lose it. And again, you're a student, so you're shook the whole time. Especially working at my athletic training program, baseball is what we were known for. So like when you were on baseball, right? Like that's the big team there.
Mm-hmm,
so like you just being in the dugout, you're shook.
I remember when I was scared to go in the dugout. I think this will be my 4th season working baseball now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I know. It's crazy.
That just shows you how long ago that last episode was.
Seriously, like it was so long ago. We were babies.
We were babies. The podcast sounded a lot different then.
Yes, it did. So my favorite memory was probably, well, actually not probably, like for sure, hands down. I don't think I can top this ever in my career. When I got to throw the first pitch.
Oh, that is cool. That's a cool experience.
I was terrified that I wasn't going to make it or that I was just going to like shank it off to the side.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
And you got it there.
I did. That was really
Did you
special.
throw from the mound too, by the way? I can't remember. Or was it in front of?
Well, I stood on the what is it? Like dirt of the mound? But like really close to the grass.
Oh, okay. So it was kind of like more towards the front of the mound.
Yeah. I wasn't on the top.
I couldn't remember.
I wasn't on the top of the mound. I don't think I can throw that far. I don't think I can throw that far accurately.
Still, by the way, I mean, that's still because the mound is 60 feet, 6 inches. So that you were still probably, 55 feet?
Yeah.
It's still a long way.
That was really special. And then secondly was seeing one of my guys. A lot of these stories that I am telling, I tell all the time because they're my favorite. One of my guys was coming back from a really bad hamstring strain, and he hit a double, and just like seeing him like just make it to second.
Yeah. That
was so I can literally still picture his celebration.
Oh, that's cool. I'd say another good baseball core memory was because we practiced in the evenings. So obviously when practice was done, it was late at night. So no one else is in the athletic training room. It's just us. And, a couple guys came in like just for like a few of the pitchers came in for like their just like arm care stuff. And, again, no one else in the athletic training room. It's just baseball. Mm-hmm. So they grabbed our radios and they started just going back and forth. Big red. This is big red. Big red there. Just going back and forth on the radios. That was fun.
Baseball does know how to have fun.
Exactly.
So our first story is anonymous. Favorite memory from working baseball was at a home game when I was working NAIA. One of my favorite kids slid into third, popped up, and immediately yelled to me and waved me over. I ran the few feet over from the dugout, and he pulled his dislocated index finger out of the batting glove. It was dislocated anteriorly. I grabbed his hand, turned my body away from him, and the first time I tried to reduce it, it popped right back in. My team heard the pop of it going back in too. He flexed his fingers and was fine. His teammates cheered, and I felt like a badass. Our coach didn't even know what had happened. I think he had been talking to the ump and was coming towards us when I was returning to the dugout. I re-evaled him when he got in the back into the dugout and told him to get it x-rayed to be sure. There was no swelling or limited range of motion. First successful finger reduction.
Nice.
I have not gotten a finger dislocation in baseball, but I've had a lot of fractures.
Yes, you have. A lot of weird fractures too.
Honestly, I've had a lot of weird, like not making sense injuries in baseball.
Yeah. I mean, that's par for the course with baseball.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Just something not by the book or what you would expect.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I did ask the most common injury you've seen in baseball, and I did tally up these, and these are just based off what people have seen.
Yeah.
The most common that people submitted were actually rotator cuff and overused shoulder. So things like bicep tendonitis, impingement, like stuff like that.
I can see that.
I was actually expecting elbow a little bit more than shoulder.
Oh, interesting.
Because I feel like I see more forearm flexors and unfortunately more UCLs. Then I feel like I eval a lot more elbows than I eval shoulders.
Huh. Interesting.
But it could just be
guys coming in, my elbow's cash, bro.
Could definitely be how they're throwing.
Probably. Elbow's cash, bro. Can't feel my pinky.
We're gonna get Randy baseball bro all episode.
That's all that's all I heard when I was in the dugout. Oh yeah, my elbow's cashed. I think I'm done today. I got some bad hair. Bad hair.
No, they come and they go, can I get cupped? Can I get scraped? All the time. That's what I hear all the time.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I don't know how you didn't get that. Literally everywhere.
Because they had like it was basically the same idea, but they didn't like come in and ask for like the treatment. They just all had like, because a lot of it was like the pitchers. They all had their set routine for arm care. Okay,
but before they have their set routine, they come in and ask.
They would more ask for the baseball AD. Like,
okay, well then,
is this person here? No. Oh, okay.
No, I'm telling you that's.
Yeah. No, I
out of all the teams, baseball is always the team that comes in and asks like for something specific, and I'm like, you know, you can come in here and say, "Hey, my shoulders hurts," or it's really tight, or yeah, you don't have to, or they'll come in. My favorite. This is my favorite. I have this going on. I don't know what treatment to do for it. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
what do you think I do?
Yeah, you didn't need to know. You're not expected to.
Right. Okay, so anyway, back to common injuries. Hamstring strain actually was up there.
I know, that is kind of interesting. But I guess it is kind of like you're going from like relatively stationary, to all of a sudden I have to sprint real fast.
Right.
Because like batter's box, right? You're kind of just standing, swing, and then you got to book it out. Same thing in the fielder's position, right? You kind of, you take a step into your stance, but you're still standing still and then have to do something quick. So I kind of get that.
I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of hamstring strains, but it's just like when I'm picturing like all the things I'm treating, like I'm not like that definitely didn't come to mind, but like it makes sense. Like it is one of my more common.
Yeah.
It just, I was not expecting it to be so prevalent, I guess, with people submitting. But elbow flexor injuries was actually after hamstring strain.
Interesting.
Contusions from being hit by a ball.
Of course.
UCL, and then ankle sprains.
Nice.
And then some other random.
Just injuries.
Okay, so this one is actually we got a ton of anonymous stories from this one. So this is also anonymous. This is from someone getting hurt while bunting.
You know what? Like that is a very dangerous aspect.
It really is.
You do have to actually know how to bunt correctly. And even if you do, like sometimes it's baseball, so you never know what's going to happen.
Honestly, that's what kept me from working baseball for so long. It's like someone could just get hit by a projectile and like...
Yes. That's traveling extremely fast.
Yeah.
Like I got hit by like some dude that threw like 85 in my forearm and that hurt.
You did?
Uh-huh.
Ow.
So I couldn't imagine 90 plus in the face.
Yeah.
Or anywhere else.
Yeah. So this anonymous one, kid was bunting, ball ricocheted off the butt of the bat.
Oh no.
Bounced on home plate and back into my athlete's testicles.
You know what? Obviously the testicle part is not great. Like that sucks. But
yeah, any guesses on whether or not he was wearing a cup?
I'm going to say probably not. But it could have been a lot worse if it just ricocheted and hit him just straight in the face. Oh,
hey, I had that. I'll tell that story a little bit later. He ended up in the ER as his testicle had ruptured.
Of course. Naturally.
He had surgery that night, but they saved the testicle.
There we go.
He also returned to finish the season a few weeks later. He's now playing in a local university.
Dope.
So still playing.
Still playing.
Another bunting, coach called me that kid's finger was bleeding. His top hand index finger was wrapped around the front of the barrel of the bat. Our pitching machine caught the seam of the ball and his finger got squished and popped like a grape.
Oh, man.
And one more for good measure. You guessed it, another bunting injury. Same pitching machine that caught the seam of a ball did it again. This time, the ball went straight for my athlete's jaw. He needed 9 stitches at the point of impact, but the force fractured his temporal bone at the TMJ.
Oof.
The only reason it was even caught was because his ear started bleeding, and they did x-rays and MRIs. He was perfectly fine, able to talk and everything. He had minor jaw pain for a week, but was able to play before the season ended.
Nice. It's not bad.
Right.
See, bunting.
Dude, bunting, bunting scares me because I feel like I get so many injuries bunting. One, because I'm also so scared of like the collisions that can happen from bunting.
Yeah.
Two, like how many fingers have I had smashed? So many. I feel like these stories submitted could basically be mine. Like I had had a kid like the other day who did that to his finger. It wasn't bleeding. It was his nail we drained.
Nice.
Because it literally, his finger looked like a lollipop.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then one time I was eating dinner and I was about to head out to football practice, and these baseball players like run in and they're like, "We need a trainer." And they just like ran, and I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of blood." So then I go and I grab the entire box of gauze.
Yeah.
And then I just run out there, and I like am eating dinner. Like I have chicken like stuck in my teeth, and I run over, and one of our kids took a bunt. Well, it ricocheted off the bat and then straight into his eye.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, orbital fracture. End up needing surgery.
Bummer.
Yeah. But he's doing really well now.
That's good. Nice.
It was, yeah. As soon as I found out who it was, too, I was like, no. Not that you want it to happen to anyone, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, bunting is,
It's not for the faint of heart.
No. Honestly, I don't know who you have to be to stand in front of a pitcher who's throwing
gas.
A little tiny hard ball that fast.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's also worse like if the person definitely can't control it, because then you really don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, honestly, oh my goodness. You know, the longest innings are the ones where like the pitcher just doesn't have control and they just keep hitting batter after batter, and you're like, okay, like,
Coach, I don't think he's got it today.
Like, hitting him in the like forearm, hitting him in like the back, you know, but then like when is this gonna hit someone in the face?
Yeah.
When is this gonna break someone's finger?
Yeah. Hey, but he's setting the tone.
Yeah, I had a kid take a pitch straight to the kneecap, and his kneecap was completely fine.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how you did not shatter your patella.
Yeah.
I do not know.
Yeah. That hurts.
Mm-hmm. Alyson S said, I was a college baseball AT for the last 4 years. The craziest thing I ever saw was a broken jaw. Pitchers were practicing throwing home to get the out, and a ball went wide and hit one of the catchers standing in the background. Oof. Immediately put towels and paper towels on it to try to get it to stop bleeding. Didn't know how broken it was at the time, just tried to control the bleeding. Called the parents and had his roommate drive him to the ER. I went up there that night and the next morning to talk to the parents again too. He had surgery the next day, ended up being broken in 2 places.
Oof. That's a bummer.
Broken jaw, we actually got several stories about.
That's interesting. I mean, I get it because like projectile sport, but like that's interesting. That's
yeah, I was very surprised too.
That's really interesting.
I don't know that I've like personally heard of anyone dealing with a broken jaw from baseball. So like the fact that we got so many was just like surprising. Like surprising not in the fact that it can happen, but just surprising that like I haven't heard of people around me, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me, when we were students, one of my friends in my cohort, he had terrible luck out at baseball and softball.
Oh no.
And literally it's just rotten luck, just not paying attention at the wrong moment. Like he was standing, like we would, for softball, like we'd cover like these large tournaments. So our medical staff would be out there, even if our school wasn't playing, right? Be the host medical. Mm-hmm. And he just wasn't paying attention, and a foul ball hit him. I can't remember where. I think it hit him in the face, actually. And then for baseball specifically, he was walking to do water for umpires, I believe, and walked behind somebody that was in the on-deck circle. And the dude swung his bat, clocked him in the head. He actually needed stitches.
Really?
He had to leave the game to go get stitches.
Wow.
So when your athletic training students get hurt.
Actually, that's you want to read this next story?
So Bayley P says, had our starting catcher turn into the guy on deck. He caught the bat right between the eyes and had to get 7 stitches. Dumbest injury just because the kid wasn't paying attention. I cleaned and steri stripped him. It was at a place that had an on-site PA, so I just sent him there and monitored him for concussion symptoms after. He didn't end up having symptoms, thankfully. He got his stitches out a few days later and was good to play.
Dude.
I think it was actually about that many stitches. What was cool as we actually got to take the stitches out of him.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we were actually going to a conference.
Oh, that is
And
hilarious.
it was about the time where he could have got him out, and we were in the hotel room. He's like, let's take him on stitches. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That I don't know why this reminded me, maybe because we were talking about Jaws, but one of my least favorite memories working baseball was when this is why, because it was our starting catcher. Our starting catcher got hit in the jaw while he was catching. Oh. And it was during a playoff game, and I had just gotten a new job, and like I went out there because it took a little while for he kept kind of playing with his jaw, and he was taking his time to get back. And I just so I went out there and I was talking to him, and he just kept closing his eyes, and I was like, are you having any headache or anything residual? And there were just enough things that I was like, I need to evaluate him for a concussion. And so then I was asking symptoms, and then finally I was like, I don't feel comfortable walking away from this without getting more of an eval.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because you can't really take someone out.
Yeah, baseball's tough that way.
Right? And he was like, I was standing at home plate, right? And this is a playoff game. And so I was like, the ump is there, the coach is there, and the ump's like, do you or I don't know if the ump asked me. No, I said, I need to evaluate him for a concussion.
Yeah.
And the ump said, you have 10 minutes.
Okay.
So they stopped the game for 10 minutes.
Nice.
A playoff game at a new job.
Yeah.
I hated every single minute of those 10 minutes because, well, first I was also really hoping, I was like, please don't make this a difficult decision.
Yeah.
I do not want to have to decide if I'm going to take this kid out or not.
Yeah.
And he ended up being completely fine.
Yeah. I remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah, I
wondered what happened.
Yeah, because I think you had just gotten there.
I just got there, and the game was stopped. I'm like, what's going on?
No, it was definitely me. It was not. It's something that I would not like to do ever again.
Yeah, that's unique though.
I know it really was.
Cool.
It was not cool. I was like, this is how people are gonna this is my first impression with all these people, and they just think that I'm gonna stop all these games.
At my job, my first basketball game involved a raccoon. So.
Oh, that was your first one?
That was literally my first basketball game. Raccoon just ran on the court, so it's okay.
I didn't realize that was your first game. That's hilarious. Yeah.
So I'm with you.
I mean, if anything, it just gave the team a breather, a 10-minute breather.
You did your team a service.
I did a service by making sure their starting catcher didn't have a concussion.
Yes, their only catcher, I believe,
their only catcher. You want to read this anonymous one?
Yes. I was rehabbing UCL reconstruction with nerve reattachment for a JUCO kid. 1 month into it, he started throwing and was progressing just fine. He then started having radicular pain. Oh no.
I know, not good.
When I tested him, I couldn't recreate symptoms nor find positive findings besides having a dead arm after throwing. Oh no. I immediately knew something was off, so I suggested he go talk to his surgeon. After talks and imaging, he tore where his ulnar nerve was reattached. That sucks. He had to get surgery again and reattach his ulnar nerve. It took him about 2 years to get back into baseball activities and was able to pitch at a high level at a D1 school. Oh,
that's crazy that he was able to go back to that. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's dope. That's hard after a setback like that.
Seriously. 2 years. We were just last night we were reading an article about 2 years if it'd be better for what was it? 2 years to get back after an ACL tear.
To return to sport. Yeah, to return to sport.
Instead of like the 1 year time frame.
Yeah, 9 months to 1 year.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
It was.
I get where it was going.
Yes, tangent.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that's going to be, that's a hard sell.
If you're interested in this research article, we have the citation. We can give it to you.
Yes.
Anyway, this anonymous one. I had to call 911 during preseason practice. An athlete's foot got caught rounding first base and they dislocated their knee and patella.
Oh, man. Wait. What did this knee look like? Like, I'm trying to...
Listen. He was going into shock, ended up tearing ACL, both menisci, spraining the MCL, LCL, and a little damage to the PCL. Okay, but...
I figured.
But get this. Now the athlete is fully recovered. He made it to cross-country states and now PR in track and field and committed to a D1 school for track and field. After dislocating their knee, not just their patella and their patella.
Yeah, but probably a safer move to go track. You probably less hurt.
I mean,
it's a predictable turn.
You only turn
left.
Yeah.
Except in
baseball,
country.
you also only turn left.
That's true, you do. But it's a sharper turn, and it's on dirt.
Honestly,
or turf.
I don't know how more athletes do not get hurt on the freaking bags.
Yeah, the bags are dangerous.
Like when I first started working baseball, it concerned me every single time someone stepped on a bag. Like every single time. Speaking of bases, one of my athletes, actually I just got permission from him today to share this because I thought it was so fascinating, this injury. He was, I think it was first base. He had made it successfully, but he stepped on the base. Oh no, but he tripped over the base and the landing foot landed like right after. And he felt like he just like jammed his foot.
Oh, okay.
And he came in and obviously like really scary for him. He walked in, he was able to walk. He walked in and a couple of us were kind of taking a look at him. And I just did some palpations and palpating, literally no pain. Like cannot get any recreation of pain at all. Until, and I did this only because he was having pain with plantar flexion. So I took my left hand and I just like put it along the lateral side of his foot and I just palpated the lateral side. And then while I was palpating the lateral side, I then palpated the medial side and that lit him up.
Oh, nice.
And so then I was like, okay. And then I palpated the medial side and I took my lateral hand away and he was having no pain. So if I was palpating both, or like if I kind of like shifted his posterior like ankle like area, if I shifted that like medial or laterally, then he would have pain. So I said, and of course this is coming from someone who's worked with performing arts for years, I said, this plantar flexion irritated from like a sudden trauma, and he has a previous injury to this ankle, and I can get and he's having pain with like that palpation pattern. I wonder if he has an os trigonum.
Oh yeah.
And then so I asked to see his x-ray from before. He didn't have an x-ray from before, but then we ended up referring him, and lo and behold,
I was just hit lo and behold.
os trigonum. He ended up getting an injection, and that helped a ton.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and now we're just taping him, keeping him from that plantar flexion.
Sweet.
As much as possible, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I thought that was like a really odd presentation.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Especially in baseball. Like,
yeah.
I've seen him in dance before, but pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Have you ever had to call 911 at a baseball game? I was actually really surprised by the poll answer of this.
I know, looking at it.
Only 23% of people said yes.
Huh.
Which actually,
I mean, maybe a good thing.
I am also part of that 23%. Knock on wood.
Yeah, seriously, knock on wood.
Yeah, 77% of people said no.
That's good.
But I feel like baseball is like one of those sports that's like, it's fine, and then it's not fine.
It gets really bad really quick.
Yeah, like really bad. Like collisions.
Oh, yeah.
This anonymous one says, a collision at first base resulted in a tibial plateau fracture. No deformities, just a ton of pain.
Oh, I bet. That's a bummer.
Like collision at first, collision in the outfield.
Oh, yeah. Outfield.
Yeah. Collision at home.
Guys not talking.
Collision at second. Honestly, collision anywhere. Anthony H. said, I had to call 911 for dislocated ankle from the runner sliding into second base. Thankfully, there was no blood. I ended up cutting the shoe and sock off. I did splint it, but EMS told us to keep him on the field instead of putting him on the cart and taking him off the field. I think seeing one as a student helped me know exactly what I needed to do.
Nice.
So Anthony's actually one of our part-times, and like he works full-time somewhere else, but it was a day that none of us could work. And I remember like being at Shabu, like I was eating Shabu, and I remember getting a text about this, and I was like, what? There's a dislocated ankle? Like what? Crazy.
Of course it happens to the part-time.
Right.
Of course it does.
Yeah. But he's been working with us for a long time.
Yeah.
So. And also, like, of all people, he has had an ankle dislocation in baseball before.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Right?
That's super unlucky.
Seriously. I was like, wow.
That's unlucky.
I'm telling you, the bases being raised is just so scary to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, like, visibility, I get it.
See bags just taking casualties.
Yeah, they really do. You want to read this next one from Kelly C?
Yes, Kelly C says, runner going from third base to home decided to slide head first, and instead of getting down low enough, went pretty high and head first into the catcher. I had to hold C-spine and call 911. I was working per diem at the high school and had communicated with the athletic director beforehand about an EAP and such. But he was not there that day. Of course not.
Yeah.
That's how EAPs usually work. There were gates that were locked, and the ambulance ended up having to drive all around the school and break down a gate in order to come get the patient. It was eventful, to say the least. That's crazy. EMS breaking down a gate.
Dude.
That's pretty funny.
Per diem sometimes is so tough.
It's wild.
Even if you like Kelly, like try to get the EAP, like
yeah.
Oof. But there's another collision for you.
Yeah. Head first.
This is something actually we don't talk about enough. I feel like knowing catcher's gear and knowing how to, like, it's really easy to remove.
Yeah.
But how, like, have you practiced?
But also, like
C-spining or?
The face mask could be different. Like the old school style, sure, that might be somewhat easier to manage, but like the hockey goalie style, like how do you take that off?
Yeah. So knowing that.
Yeah.
I need to go look at ours.
Yeah.
What is your criteria to take an athlete out of a game, or the opposite, keep them in the game during baseball? I feel like...
say, are they functional?
Honestly. So I actually didn't know this until recently. My first couple games, when I first started working baseball, I don't think I really paid attention to this. But now that I've been working it for a couple years, like I understand it a little bit more. Like when you take someone out, like there's no subbing. Yeah. Like they're done. Like
you can't re-enter.
Yeah. So I think that's why it makes a little bit more sense. Like when people are talking about like on-field evals for like a baseball athlete, it's kind of like, well, you're going to do everything you can, because it's not like they're going to come back in.
Yeah. And
like you do functional, like it's one of the sports that you'll actually do like functional on the field.
Yeah, you can actually ask, hey, let's see a couple throws.
Yeah, especially like if you have to go out for your pitcher.
Yeah.
Or your catcher.
Yeah.
Like when I had my catcher, I was like, hey, like, why don't you catch a few?
Yeah.
And I just stood there and just watch. We all watch. Is like,
yeah, it looks great. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Walk back.
You look great.
We got a couple different responses for this one. I kind of put some together, all anonymous. One person said, it varies off of position injury, but I'm looking for normal game type movements with little to no pain. So like some examples.
Yeah.
Outfielders, can they make their cuts? And cuts are like, so an outfielder is not necessarily going to throw like all the way from the outfield to like home, for example.
You
so
got
like
a cannon if you do.
So their cut would be like one of the infielders.
Yeah.
So like throwing to someone and then that person throwing home.
Yeah.
So like, can they make their cuts? Batters, can they grip a bat or fully swing? Can they handle the reverberation from a bat when hitting? Can they run and step on bases? Can they slide with no issues?
Nice.
There are some things that you can like get around, like if it's like a hand or something, like the oven mitt that they could wear when sliding.
Yeah. Or the thumb, the little thumb piece.
The little, what is it? A pro hitter?
Sure.
The little pro hitter you can put. I don't have any more of those, so I need to.
Didn't you make one?
I did make one. Those, you just go around your thumb and they help with reverberation from the bat. I actually learned that from one of my students when I was first working baseball. So helpful when I was first working baseball. I had a student who is actually now working in minor leagues.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he really taught me a lot, and a lot of like lingo. So I owe it a lot to him. Thank you, Jonas. Actually, so this is like knowing the different positions, I think, with any sport, but like with baseball, like anyone who's, unless you're a DH, like anyone who is like in the lineup is going to have like a field position.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone in a field position is going to bat except for a pitcher.
Yep.
So like just, knowing knowing that like their responsibilities. And then like, for example, like I had a kid who like was having trouble with his shoulder, and like knowing like, is like, do you bat right? Do you bat left?
Yeah. And
then like which hand is your top hand or your bottom hand? And then you can kind of like see like, okay, this shoulder is like their front shoulder. So like, for example, he wasn't able to lift his arm above 90, like abduction. And so then what I end up doing after I did like some manual therapy and like some work, I end up and like once I was able to like restore his range of motion, I just ace wrapped him, and that helped a ton. Had him go like, hey, I need to take a couple swings, and then like just like on like just like dry hacks, or like what they call them when you're just like in the air, like, and then like hitting like no contact, and then you want to like make contact with a ball, and then you can like go from there, and like maybe they can take BP or stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Before a game, there's plenty of BP.
Oh, there's plenty of BP. All the abbreviations they have: BP, PFPs.
PFPs.
I had a pitcher today who was like, he said something about not taking, he was like, oh, but PFPs, but I don't do that. And I was like, aren't you a pitcher?
Hey, by the way, that costs the Yankees the World Series, so just saying, PFPs are important.
So actually, speaking of what you were talking about earlier with your classmate getting hit, I did ask if people have ever been hit with a baseball while working.
That sucks.
29% of people said yes. So like 1 in 3 people
that sucks.
Get hit. Have you been hit?
Not working. I have not been hit by a ball, but while working.
Just while playing?
Just while playing.
Once? Or multiple?
Well, multiple times, but the one that stands out was the kid that threw 85 and rocked my forearm.
Was your forearm okay?
It actually wasn't too bad, but it did hurt. It did hurt.
You know what I don't understand?
I made it to second base and it was still hurting.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Did it leave like a nice bruise? Do you bruise?
It didn't bruise, but it was swollen.
Really?
It didn't discolor. I was surprised. That hurt.
I've never heard this story.
Yeah.
Do you know that when we're on the podcast, I feel like there are so many stories you tell that I've never heard?
Yeah, I played baseball with some guys one time, and it hurt. And this dude, the other dude on the pitcher on the other team, like pitched at like a D2 school.
Oh. Hey, you made it to second.
I got on base. I did my job.
Wait, how did he hit you and you?
Well, I got hit, so I got first.
And
then I think the next batter hit a single, and they got me to second.
Got it. I understand.
Yeah.
I thought you were just saying like you hit, and I was like, wait, that makes no sense.
No.
Okay, so that's another thing. When I actually just was talking to my first baseball coach about this the other day, because he didn't believe that I had never worked baseball before working with him, and I was like, no, like I literally knew nothing before working baseball with you. But also, if someone gets hit by a pitch, obviously they take first base. They like walk to first base. So I one time ran out for someone who got hit, and I said he was fine. And so then I was like, oh yeah, he can finish his at bat. I'll just check in with him when he gets back to the dugout. And my coach was like, oh no, he got hit, so like he's going to first. I don't know how he didn't think that I was like baseball illiterate. Like that is like, I feel like one of the first things.
Oh, maybe you thought he fouled it off.
Okay, maybe he gave me the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, or like, oh, maybe you missed it and you thought he swung and it hit him, and that would just be that'd be a really crappy strike.
You know what I had in the very first year I worked was people getting hit in the tricep.
That's a bummer.
And then they couldn't throw.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like distal tricep.
Yeah, that sucks.
And all they need to do is wear the little elbow protector. But they wouldn't wear it.
I'm surprised they didn't. All the kids nowadays are all about it because it's all the drip.
Well, now, like 4 years ago, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true.
I had to like beg them. And I literally asked them. I was like, I do not understand. Because when you get hit in the elbow, there's not much I could do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like once your elbow swells up and you can't throw, there's just not much I could do for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to read this one from Andrew H?
Yes. In the dugout, on the steps of a sunken dugout, kid had a late swing. The ball took 2 hops and hit me in the shin.
Oh my goodness.
I saw it coming, but it was on me before I could move. That's the worst. I picked up my foot to get out of the way just as it hit me. I had a knot for 6 weeks after, even with treatment.
Oh my gosh.
See, like, I feel like that's why, like, where I stand is like, or yeah, anywhere I'm going to stand is an area where I just have to make one quick movement and I'm out of danger. Like softball, I was at the end of the dugout, but like I was literally at the part of the fence where if a ball comes at me, I just have to like turn and the fence got me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was first working baseball, we had a really nice setup where I was behind a chain link fence, but I was like right by home.
Uh-huh.
And there was a really easy access to the field. So like I could be at home plate like within a couple seconds. Mm-hmm. Whereas now I set up all the way past first base.
Yeah.
And so if someone gets hit at home, I'm like, ugh. Do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do they need me? Okay, I better start making my way over there because it's going to take me a lot longer than when it used to.
Yeah.
And I do have a little bit of a blockage, but not as much as... There was one time I was like sitting... So I either stand at our little like... Because the dugout fence like goes all the way like past the dugout.
Yeah.
And I either stand there or there's like little risers like right behind it, and I sit on those risers. So one time I was sitting on the risers and a line drive came literally straight at me and I'm sitting, and so like I can't really like get out of the way very quickly, so then I just literally like lay back.
Yeah. Like
I'm laying flat on this riser, and one of my guys like books it out of the dugout. He's like, "Sandra, are you okay?"
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And I like sat up and I was like, yeah, like it didn't hit me, but it came like real close. Yeah. Like I had to lay down. And he was like, "Why is your face all red?" And I was like, "Did you not see that I just had to like
matrix this bad
Exactly.
That is true. At least where you're at, like you're further down the line.
Yeah,
so
I have a couple seconds.
Yeah, you have some reaction time because you're right. And where you're set up, it is hard to like be in a position where you can make a quick movement and then you're safe.
Right.
You almost have to go down because that's where the net.
Right.
You almost have to be like.
If I remember correctly, I feel like in our first baseball episode, I think it was in the baseball episode, someone was behind the net and they thought like, "Oh, the net will save me," but the net like ripped.
That's unlucky.
Yeah, and so it still hit him.
Yeah.
Bryce A says, "I set up in the dugout large rolling toolbox kit outside of the gate. Once was in the back corner of the dugout when a foul went into the dugout. I dodged it initially and then it ricocheted twice and hit me in the jaw. No fracture or other issues. A second time was at an away game and I was sitting in the host AT's golf cart with him as he was an early mentor for me. My big hitter came up to bat and smoked it. It curved foul on the third baseline and sunk right into my thigh on the golf cart because I couldn't get out fast enough.
Oh, no.
The jaw was definitely a shock. The thigh was just laughed off. My boys made the hitter do push-ups for hitting me."
Yes, absolutely. That's the only appropriate response.
You want to read this one from Erin?
Yes, Erin says, "They turned the game into a home run derby because of a rain-out situation. There was a high fly ball that came over the dugout, which is uncovered and dropped right on my foot." What were the odds? "I didn't move because usually when you move into it. So I just stayed where I was so I could track it. It didn't hit too hard." Yeah, that's true. You don't want to try and move too much.
Yeah.
But if you're going to move, like, I feel like you can move, but like you just have to go. You have to commit to your direction and just book it.
Right. I feel like there are some times that I track the ball really well, but the times that I can't track the ball, actually when I first started working baseball, I feel like I couldn't really track the ball. But there are times that like I'm either not paying attention or like I can't track the ball, and I feel like that's when I'm like, "Oh shoot, I gotta like move out of the way real quickly because for something that's like way further than I need to move for, but because like I'm not paying attention and don't know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Courtney G, this one's a little scary. Never been hit by a ball, but I did almost get hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Needless to say, I'm no longer scared of balls. I was working semi-professional baseball, standing next to the manager inside by the rope, so there wasn't much protection. Our batter was 2 and 3, so normally you swing no matter what. He was pretty mad, so he put all that anger into his swing. That bat flew and went straight towards the dugout I was in. He apologized the next day. Sorry, Court. Didn't mean to almost kill you.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Or when the bat breaks.
That's really scary.
And it's loud.
Yeah, it is. But like, yeah, because like at that level, right, they're using wood bats so that it could splinter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But if a bat breaks at our level, that's a big problem because they're not supposed to break.
What do you mean?
Like, our bats are not wooden bats. So they're not really, they shouldn't be breaking.
Oh.
So when they do, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And that does happen every now and then.
I did have an athlete, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the picture, but I don't know if the ball like went into the bat or if the ball split on the bat or like how, but like he was hitting. It was actually one of my catchers.
Is this on TikTok?
But they did post a picture and it went viral. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
He went to hit it and it just stayed on the bat. I'll have to find the picture.
Yeah.
Like it's viral, so I have to find it.
It did go viral because I remember seeing it. And I saw the school and I said, "Hey,
hold on.
Yeah, wait a minute. Do you know about this?"
Yeah, I literally went like back to work the next day and I was like, "Dude, what is this? Is this you?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's real. Everyone was saying it wasn't real." He's like, "No, it happened yesterday." It's like, dang, I wasn't there. That is one thing. Like, I really enjoy going out to baseball practice when I can.
Yeah.
And I feel like it helps you build so much more rapport.
Depending on the level, there's some ATs like go out there and shag balls with the team during practice.
I'm not on that level yet, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to read this next one from Steven?
Yeah, Steven says, broke my finger. With my finger, I was watching the game. Ball came flying toward me. I was actually protecting my monster that was in my pocket. I just didn't want it to explode in my hand. I also needed the caffeine, lol. Still have the ball, though. I kept working and had our doc take a quick look at it the following day. Splinted it and kept on going.
Sounds like an AT.
Yeah, just kept on going.
So I do have two more kind of sections. One is what is a must-have in your kit. I think what I want to do with these is I'm going to put them in our Facebook group. If you're interested in looking at them, our Facebook group is facebook.com/group/AT Corner Podcast. So we'll put in the baseball must-haves in your kit. And then if you have any more must-haves, please let us know. Put them in our Facebook group. And then just lastly, just some general tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like baseball is not really like, even like baseball and softball like are completely different animals to work.
Yes. They are not the same.
Both are very fun.
Yes.
I feel like fall and spring are just completely different.
The only thing that's the same between them is just the length of the game just can vary. Like buckle up for all day.
Oof. I've had a 5-hour game.
See, that's terrible. That sounds terrible.
It was very, very, like, I was just ready. I think everyone was ready.
Probably. No one wants to be there at that point because that's not even counting everything that happened before the actual game. The 3 hours
because they get there
BP.
so yeah.
It's an all-day thing.
It is 100% an all-day thing. Tips and trick number 1 that everyone, this is like the number 1 answer: bring snacks.
Yeah. Most importantly, bring seeds.
Mm-hmm. You want to read this first anonymous one?
Yes. Always keep an eye on the ball. Pitchers love to have a towel between innings. Educate on self-manual work. You're out there to cover the game, not to massage arms.
Honestly,
that's a good point.
Most of the time, like, the ball is where the action is going to be unless someone is stealing.
Yeah. But that is a good point. Just keep an eye on the ball.
Yes.
Also, yeah, like always just, I don't know, keep your head on a swivel. Like, especially in between innings. You think you're safe in between innings, but remember, like infield's tossing the ball around. You never know when you get that stray one. You're not paying attention. Whoa, hey.
Oh, this would have been a good question to ask. How often? Oh yeah, that is scary. Like overthrows. How often do you water the umps?
Depends.
It does.
Depends on how hot.
My goal, and sometimes I'm really good at this goal, and sometimes I am so bad at this goal, is about every 2 innings.
I feel like if it's hot,
I definitely do more if it's hot.
Yeah, I feel like if it's hot, I'll do every inning. And then I feel like when it's not hot, I'll probably do every 2. Except softball, I do it a little bit faster.
In softball, I actually don't water the umps because the umps usually bring their own water.
Yeah, most of the time I've had that.
I'm not sure why, like softball specifically.
Yeah.
Like baseball does not.
Maybe shorter field.
Maybe.
So like you can have it close by. You don't have to move as far. Whereas like, I don't know. I don't even think that's a good reason. I just feel like that's the only reason I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think softball I do it faster than I do baseball because it's a shorter game.
I usually ask the umps, like I'll go out there after inning 2, like the end of inning 2, and then I will say, hey, I'll be back in 2 unless you want it sooner. And
nice.
Usually they're
That's
pretty
nice.
good with that.
That's nice.
Yeah. Or they'll and I get their names so then I can, and usually, well, here's the thing. When I was working in my last conference, like I knew all the umps because they all would work the same umps would work the same games, and so I got to know them and they all knew who I was, and so it was really easy because we were on a first name basis. And actually I just worked a game that one of the old umps was there. Nice. And he was like, hey, I remember you.
Yeah.
So that was like kind of cool, like full circle moment. But I feel like it's like so variable.
Yeah.
Because also there are some umps who are like, oh, I don't want to drink that much because I'm gonna have to pee in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And you don't never know how long these games are gonna be.
Well, you're an adult, buddy. You can say no.
Right.
Or you can take smaller sips.
Right. That is one thing.
You do have control of this situation.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Usually, and like my last conference only had 2 umps, but my new conference has 3 umps for games.
Whoa.
I know. Such a difference.
It honestly, it makes a big difference.
I mean, playoffs are always 3.
Yeah.
But like, I'll usually go to like the home ump. And the home ump, like, I usually never cross home plate, especially because that's like when pitchers and catchers, like, that's when they're like doing their warm up throws or whatever. So like, I'll stand on one side of the plate and like just motion to the ump, and usually I make the ump like cross behind.
Nice.
Like, I don't usually like to like walk behind, even like if they're not. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Nice.
And then for the 2, like I'll go like along first base and get that ump, and then usually that ump can like yell over to the other blue and just like see if they want it, so you don't have to like run around the entire field during the inning.
We had to.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Because like, yeah, the not all the time with the umps meet the ones that are in the field.
Usually we signal to them and then.
Oh, yeah, nope. We had to. One would do the home plate, and one would have to hit one, go all the way around, hit the other one, then bring it back.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know if that was just. I don't want to say hazing, but I don't know if it was just. Welcome.
That's funny. Just keeping you keeping you busy.
Yeah, keeping you fit. You gotta be able to. You gotta go fast.
Okay, how about this one? With every fly ball, always track the players fielding the ball. Do not track the ball in the air.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
Actually, I do this when I lose track of the ball, I immediately look at the people because
that's what I do.
Because then everyone else is tracking the ball and I can see if it's coming for me.
So like, because I've like somewhat know how to track a ball in the air.
Right.
I could look up and at least know, okay, like I'm safe. If it's one that's kind of like, iffy, then I'll look to see if they're running towards me and I'm like, oh no.
I know when they're running towards you, that's oh no.
I better get out of here.
What I'm scared of sometimes is like if I'm under the easy up and like, what if it like goes through the easy up?
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
We had a kid who was in the cage behind a screen and someone hit a ball and it bounced to the top of the cage, hit the top of the cage and came down and hit the kid in the head.
Unlucky.
And I was like, really? Like, how did you get in that situation?
Yeah.
Okay, best for last. I saved these superb tips from Erin G. Just like as a generic, like baseball overview, just extravaganza.
Yeah.
So she says, definitely get ready for some absolute nonsense superstitions and ridiculous antics in the dugout. If you don't want to be part of any shenanigans, then set up outside the dugout if possible. I place myself near an exit from the dugout and hover barely outside of the dugout while a player is down. If they aren't up in about 5 seconds, I will start making my way to the pitch to the player, and if they are still down, then I pick it up into a jog. If it's someone who got hit by a pitch, I will do the same but start walking out after 2 seconds.
Oh, nice.
To add on to this, if someone gets hit with a pitch and it's not something that like I'm necessarily concerned about, if the coach walks out, I will walk out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time, that doesn't happen, but like I also like give that like I have a little bit of
space.
Yeah. Erin continues, always make sure you have a direct line of sight to home plate, as there are 3 people that could all be injured at once depending on the pitch or how a foul ball flies off the bat.
Yeah, true.
Always pay attention to the steal to second base. Third base too, but doesn't happen as often, as most will dive into the base, so this is usually when the shoulder dislocations, in my experience, happen.
Otani.
High ankle sprains happen mostly at first base due to running through the bag. They hit the front of the bag with their foot and it just jolts their talus up enough to cause a sprain.
Nice. Yep.
One time I had someone run to first and they pulled their hamstring, and it was like right at an inning change, and I saw them make it to first, and then like everyone kind of got out of their dugouts and like there was a whole hubbub, and then someone's like, oh, Sandra, like they need you, and I like look over and the kid's on the floor, and I was like, oh, like I stopped watching like after he made it to first and saw that like he didn't make it, like it wasn't safe, like he was out. So then I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna like
do things.
Yeah, exactly. And I like then there's people in front of him and I'm not seeing that he's on the floor, and pulled his hamstring. Yeah, I really don't like when I can't see what's happening at home plate.
Yeah, that's scary. Because there is a lot that can happen.
There's a lot. And you miss like 1 second and you miss the entire thing.
That's a lot, yeah. But you know what? I actually thought of my favorite memory now.
Oh, tell me.
Working a baseball camp. This is my first year certified.
So you have worked baseball since you were certified?
It was a baseball camp. So it was the last day. And, you know, again, the school's known for baseball, right? So there's kids there, there's student athletes there that are going to be in the majors at some point. So all the kids would like have all like the camp counselors the student athletes sign like their hat and stuff. Because again, coaches aren't running these camps, it's student athletes. And one of the kids, no joke, comes up to me and asks me to sign his hat. I'm like,
oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it was really adorable. I was like, you got it, buddy. So this kid somewhere has my signature with ATC on it. He probably has no idea what that is.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. I'll sign your hat. Made my day.
Okay, that's a good memory.
Yeah.
That's a good one to end on.
Yeah.
Do you have any more tips and tricks in baseball?
I don't know if I have anything for baseball. I mean, I feel like, we've kind of said everything. Yeah.
Happy 200.
Happy 200. This is a good one for 200.
Yeah, I agree. Happy 200. Well, if you guys have made it this far along the way, or if you are new, we do several different types of episodes. This was a story episode. We also have CEU episodes that Randy takes research articles and like a ton of them, and we kind of discuss them in a like more conversational based format. We have some interviews and then just some education experience episodes. So if you're interested in submitting stories for an upcoming episode, make sure you check out our Instagram at AT Corner Podcast. If you are interested in CU topics, make sure you either head to our website or on our Instagram. We also talk about how to get them thanks to our partner AT Chat and Clinically Pressed. If you guys are interested in a topic that you'd like us to cover, let us know. Actually, something that I've been meaning to look into because I haven't been able to find an AT who can talk about it. Tennis stories. I cannot find an AT.
Yeah.
Someone asked about tennis stories a while ago, and I've been looking for an AT. So if you know someone who would like to speak about tennis stories or how to work tennis or kind of knows the ins and outs,
locked in on tennis,
like please connect us. Super interested in that. So, yes. And again, softball's in the works. We have some other things up our sleeves. We're super excited to keep going after 200. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you for helping us showcase athletic training behind the tape. Bye.